Okay, so what I want to do is I want to use the auto rigger. So I've got this thing called advanced skeleton, and I want to use that. Now what I need to do is clean up my scene. I'm just going to double check and see if I've got any problems. So normally this kind of docks on the side here. I hit the 5 button, okay, and I'm going to close this down so we don't look at any of this extra stuff. I have all of it open. What was I thinking? Okay, so some things first. First off, it gives you this order of things to do, the pre-stuff. If you want the face to work, you need to make this work. So clean the model. If you want to go in here and this will clean up your model. And it says there's polysurface shape. Okay, so I'm going to stop this for a second here. I'm just going to go in and I'm going to investigate what's going on in my scene. I always like the hypergraph for this. Okay, I've got a bunch of stuff. Okay, the gown. I might bring the gown back later on. Boop. And what do we got? Poly shape here. Let's just take this and I'm going to delete the history. And there are some lights that I was playing around with in here and some other things. It doesn't look like they're important right now, so I'm going to get rid of those. Okay, and what's that thing? Is that anything? It doesn't look like anything. I'm just going to, yeah, nothing. And I'll just make sure we got body, we got sphere. So there is, if I take a look, I've got 2 spheres for my eyes. Okay, and I'm just going to call this I underscore, what is this one? This one is the left eye, and I'll call this outer. Okay, because that's a spec really. And then there's an I left underscore inner. Okay, great. And then what's this? That's the eye on the other side. That is my I right underscore inner. Great. And there's a chunk of history on here. There's a funny little extra node. You can see the ghosty node down here. Options, display, shape, hidden underworld nodes is on, so I can see that thing. It'll probably clean up, and also I'm going to leave it there just as an example. And this is the I right underscore outer. Okay, great. And I got a shoe, and shoe left and shoe right. And I was totally smoking crack. I don't have my teeth in here. I'm just going to pause for a second while I grab my teeth. That sounds weird. Okay, so I got the teeth in and stuff. I just gotta double check on their namings. So this one here is teeth lower, and what have I got? Teeth, whoop, teeth upper, and there's my tongue. Done. And I'm just going to make sure that these things are parented to this thing called Geo. And I'll just go here to the model clean button and I'll try this again. So create, we've already got a thing called Geo. That's this top one here. No uppercase, anything like that. Okay, fine. And then I'm going to hit clean. And it's going to go through the scene and whoop, continue. Boom, it's cleaned the scene. Let's look for junk. It got rid of all my layers. Don't have any layers in here. Avoid them. Okay, anything else? Let's just go and hit the spacebar on this, and I might just check the body, because this is where all the face rig stuff is going to happen. There's a model check button here, and so it'll check and look for symmetry. And hopefully this all works. Checking, checking, checking. And I have symmetry issues. Some vertices are not symmetrical. Okay. Now, I think this is not totally necessary if you're just going to use the rig, but if you're going to use the face, it's a good idea to make everything symmetrical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to grab faces. I'll grab that one, double click on that one, delete it, delete this. This is going to screw up my UVs, so I probably have to do another UV round on this. I'm going to go to the front view, and you might even notice some of these vertices are off here. So what if I go in here and I select vertices and I grab, say, that one, and I hold down shift and I double click. I grabbed everything, right? Right! And I'll just move this over a little bit, and I'm going to grab my move tool, and I'm just going to hold down X, and I should double check here. If I hold down W and I go to symmetry, make sure that symmetry's off. Okay, cool. And what about keep spacing? This nasty bugger right here, keep spacing, have that off. So when you hold down X, book, it all snaps. Something went and snapped. I felt something move. I felt it move through the mouse. Okay, so I'm just going to take this and I'll do a quick shift, right click, and I'll do a mirror. I'm going to put the mirror over. I don't want that to cut the geometry. Copy world on the X, go to the negative. And if I go down here, threshold, I put it to custom, so it's 0.001, hit mirror, bloop, and it mirrored to the other side. It also might be a wise idea right now to quickly check and see if I've got any non-manifold geometry. I went to the cleanup options, hit cleanup. If it goes to component mode, that means that you've got non-manifold geometry you should fix. Alt-Shift-D, gonna delete the history, and I can also find lamina faces when I'm in there. So everything's good. We'll just double check this. So now if I go to do the model check again and I hit check. What do we got? 6-minute mark already? Okay, and it's thinking. And everything's fine. Model is symmetrical. Okay, cool. You can make asymmetrical models out of this too, but there's probably a tutorial video somewhere for this. So now I'm just going to save this. It says you want to create a new scene. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to take this, and I've gotten rid of everything I don't want, so I'm going to save scene as, and we'll call this just Elvira Rig Ready. Boop. Enter. Continue. Okay. And now we're good. And I'm going to go new scene. So it's saved, and I'm going to go to reference. And I'm going to reference in the Elvira Rig Ready. Anything else I want to worry about down here? He likes to use this one with the use selected namespace. I don't like that one. I tend to like this one, and that gives me less long names. But let's do this and see what happens. Boop, reference, continue. And it brings it in, and it's ready to put the rig in. It gave you a little layer down here. It says hi. It's on template, but for some reason I can never make template work when I'm trying to use the snap to projected centers or anything like that, so I usually turn that off and make it in a wireframe. And we are done this section. And my knees aren't really bent. Crap. Well, I'm just making this tutorial before I'm actually ready to make the tutorial. But I just don't have the rest of the time to do a bunch of modeling. So we're going to go over here to biped. I'm going to hit import. Okay, it comes in kind of tiny. I did measure my character to be real world size. You can put on feet, and there's like tails in here if you want to. Great. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to grab, I went and I grabbed the little circle down here, and I'm also going to put on fit mode. Okay. And actually, you know, one other thing I forgot too is with this version, I forgot to go in here to about and check for updates. I'm not going to bother to right now, but because I'm already midway in, but I should have done this beforehand. Okay, so let's take this and I'm going to scale it up. I usually kind of scale it up so the arms are kind of in place. Okay, and I'm going to move this thing over here someplace. And actually, let's put it right here for the moment. Okay, so I've got it sitting here, and I'm going to go in and give myself 2 panes, and I'll take this and I'll make this the side view. And I'm going to put on shading X-ray joints. Okay, so I'm going to grab the joint, and I grab the move tool. This is going to be for my pelvis. Okay, I'm going to put it in the hip. Let's go to wireframe. And let's take a look at this one from the front view. Okay, so I'm looking, and I kind of like it right up there. That should be good. Okay, I'm looking how this is going to bend through here, the surface, and how this is going to deform. And I forgot to move my knees. We'll just go ahead, and I'm going to do a trick right now. This is bad. If I go in and I grab this section right... Oh, you bastard! Let's isolate that. Control 1. Okay, let's go in here and I'm going to grab some vertices. and I'll hit B, so I got soft selection. Let's grab lots of vertices just in case we got a problem. B. Don't want that to move too far, but just enough so I can bend my knee. Okay, and I don't want to do too much of this. It's going to make it look, the model look bad. Okay, I'll say that's good. And let's turn off that isolate select over here. Let's turn off the soft selection. Okay, and just so I got enough of a bended knee. Great. And so I got the hip here. I do tend to notice the hip works a little better, a little bit further forward. And the knee, got it there. Okay, I'm going to move it up a bit. And I'll take the ankle. And I kind of look at where the ankle is placed. I'd like to favor it a little bit low. Okay, works better. And this has got the right bend in it, right? If I look at it, it's because I've moved this a bit forward. What if I take this knee? If I hold down D, I can move it forward a little bit so I know for sure I've got a bend in there. I do tend to favor putting this in the middle. And again, I have to do some more work on this leg. Okay, and then the next thing I'll do is I get here, and I'm just going to grab my rotate tool, and I'm going to rotate the hip so that the ankle and the knee are in place. And hopefully your leg is straight enough that this will fit just like what I've got here. What you will notice if you don't do this is the leg rig will be off a little bit. So there we go. And then I'm going to place some of these points here, like we've got the heel. Let's grab the move tool. Move this down here, and place it there. And if I just kind of look, the heel should go someplace around here. I'm going to hold down V. There. It's important to make little squirrel noises when you're doing that. This thing here is called the big toe. This actually is the base of your toe for doing the foot rock. Okay, if I go in here and I hold down V, I can snap that there. Do the one on the other side. There's one that says pinky, or pinky toe. Yeah, pinky toe. And if you hold down P, come on, you bastard, over here. Okay, good. And then there's one that's the toe end, and if I hold down V, there we go. And that should work. Oh, I forgot to move the toes. This toes here, this is kind of like the balls of your feet. And if I hold down D, I can move it without moving the children. Leave the children alone. Just leave them. Okay, great. And now we're going to move up the body. What are we at? 12 minutes? Okay, great. And this one here, that's your spine. I'm going to pull this down. I kind of move it down to the rib cagey area, bottom of the rib cage. Kind of in the middle, favoring the back a little bit. Chest, whoop, in here. I don't like this one terribly much. I'm going to put it there-ish. Okay, because I find that deforms the rib cage kind of strange. Okay, and then there's one for the base of the neck, and there's one for the head. This one I put it just under the earlobe, going into the head a little bit, otherwise the deformations are a little bit weird. And there is the jaw in front of the earlobe. This one here, end of the jaw. And if I grab, there's your eyeball one. I'm just going to come back to that. I'm just going to put the tip of the head in. Now the eyeball one, let's go to the front view. And let's see if we can line it up. So if I hold down X, I'm looking through this motley bunch of geometry. Oh, not X, I want to hold down V. There we go. So I've lined it up with that middle line of my eye. So now I'm going to go over this way and I'm going to stare into my eye and I'm going to hold down V. And I can get to the center. Okay, that direction. So we got the front and we got the side. And if I do this, I got it. So that should be the center of my eye. Okay. And then we get into the scapula joint, which I find to be good, kind of just a bit in front of the center, more towards the front of the chest. And I tend to like this one close to the spine. Okay, clavicle is kind of up in here, pec is down here, a little bit higher, and right around here seems to work best. It is based off of the pivot point of the scapula, not the clavicle. There, and if I go and I rotate this puppy, kind of get this into the ballpark. I've got a little bit of a bend in my arm. It shouldn't be too bad. Do something like that. Okay, and I get it kind of in the ballpark. And let's take a look at this one from the top view. And I can't quite see what's going on, so I'm just going to go here to my faces on my arm. And let's just, oh, I missed. Grow, grow. I'll just hit G a bunch of times so I can see my arm shape. And if I just hold down Shift and select my, come on you bastard, why can't I select that? Shoulder? Good, got that too. And then I'll just go in here and I'll isolate it, just a little bit easier to see. I can manually move this over so it's kind of in the middle. There is the snap to projected centers. When I have this on and I'm over here, there's a little button. Boop. And you can also adjust the joint size in case it's too obnoxious. I'm going to take the next joint down. Where is it? Right there. There's my elbow. I want to figure out where the elbow is bending. Okay. This might put the IK off a little bit because there'd be a little kink in here, but I'll just live with it and say, that's the way I wanted it. Let's go into the hand, and I'm just going to go into perspective view, and let's just make this big. When I'm doing the hand, I find that this works a little bit better when you go a little bit into the hand area, away from the wrist here where it bends, a little bit more forgiving right here. And because I've got snap to projected centers on, it's easy to place the thumb. This first one goes really close to the base of the thumb, really close to the wrist actually. This one here, going up the thumb. I'm trying to go as fast as I can while I'm talking and recording videos. Here, I think that one's right there. We'll double check in a moment. So I just kind of rotate around and I figure out, did I miss something? That's the middle finger. Okay, and that looks like, did I get that in the right spot? That one could be back a little bit. This one here. Okay, cool. And those should be fine. And then I'm going to approach, let's approach this from the other side here. I'm going to grab the base of the pinky. This is for cupping your hand. I'll place this one over here. I'll take this one and I'll place that in the base. And remember that with your fingers, it's actually kind of good to kind of go in a little bit because that's really what happens. The pivot point isn't really at the edge or into the finger here. It's back into the palm a little bit. Okay. I'm going to guess that's the right one. And that one's there. There. I'm trying to go quickly because this can be boring watching someone do this, I think. And I think that one's there. 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 And I got that one kind of in. I'm going to go back a little bit. Take this, put it there. And pretty much done. Okay, cool. I've got all my joints in the right place. I'm just going to turn off fit mode. And anything else I got to worry about in here? I could make more IK joints if I got like wings or something like that. You can build joints off the top. You can put IK labels in and stuff like this. We won't worry about that too much. And if I go down here to build, I can hit build advanced skeleton. Okay, just got to check my dogs. So this is going to be step one, and I'm going to break it up, and I'm going to have to do the face in a second video. Okay, then it says down here, build complete. So it's built my skeleton. You can toggle it, move joints around, and hit rebuild, and it will rebuild the rig. I can go in here and move some of these things around. I typically find, maybe it's because of where I tend to place my... what the hell's going on back there? Okay. Based on where I put my my joints here, it seems to me that the scapula is kind of coming close to the spine. I'm just going to isolate them for a second, and if I go in, I can take the hulls of these things. So I'll maybe take the hull of this one, and here, let's go to the front view for a moment. So I can hit if I take this one by itself, and I've got snap to projected centers on, I'm going to turn that off. I'm just going to move this one over here so it's someplace where I can easily figure it out. Go and right click, hull. Do something like that, and I'll say that's good. Hull! There, so I got the hull selected for both those. I'm just going to turn off isolate select, and then I can, with these points selected, I can just scale it up a bit, make it something easier to select. Okay, cool. I can do the same thing with the neck piece here, right-click, hull. Give it a bit more shape. There's other tricks, tons of other tricks I can pull off to make this work a bit better. What's that? There's a jaw thing in the middle of the face here. You're not going to worry about that because that's going to be replaced. And so that's good. Next thing I want to do, I'm just going to select my mesh, and I'm going to, let's close these down as we go. Fit. We're going into Deform 1. I'm going to hit select Deform Joints, and then I can go to Bind. And I can bind this, and I do have, can't remember if this actually causes a problem. Which one is it? Closest in distance? No, it's geodesic voxel. That's my new favorite one. You'll notice that sometimes your vertices, when you're weighting, this joint here will select vertices on the other side. Geodesic voxel prevents that. As long as your bones are inside of your mesh, it works better. So let's just see what happens when I hit bind. Uh-oh, I just realized I might have some issues, but we'll see what happens. Okay, that's cool. And now it's bound. We can check and see if any of these things work. Just do a quick test. The hips, okay, we can do a better job of weighting and stuff like that. But right here, if this is all we want, we can make our own blend shapes, and we've got this wonderful, wonderful rig. Maybe there was one more thing I forgot to mention. I'm just going to save this just in case I crash, because I don't want to do this again. If I go in, and I'll call this 6_rig. Okay, continue. One thing I forgot to mention is that when you are putting it together, when you go to the build option here, if I hit toggle fit, you will notice when you select the bones that there are different options to make them bendy, okay, that show up over here. Actually, I'm not going to go back. If I go back, I'll screw up this whole demo probably. But when you are in the bone setup mode, there is some extra options. So I'm going to stop this here.